On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Major weird stuff going on. A lot of the judicial stuff is getting way out of hand. I don't know when and where and how this changes. We'll see. Certainly got a lot of successes to be proud of. A lot going on around the signal stuff. We got a whole bunch to talk about. Well, a bunch to talk about for that matter. And we've got my live show coming up today. I'm excited about it. The Law of One. Not necessarily for everybody, but the people that do watch and do check this out, I think are gonna get I think they're really gonna enjoy it. I'm excited about this. Probably one of the coolest things that I've ever gotten to teach, and I love it. Absolutely love it. I think this will be my fourth or fifth time through the information, and I'm excited about that too. Yeah, I should just hopefully get even better at it. We'll see how it plays. So that'll be today at 3:00 Pacific time, 6 Eastern. This is getting a lot of attention, and I frankly don't quite understand why. I love the woo. I'm all about the woo. I talk a lot about the woo. I'm doing a show on the woo. But this whole secret CIA files claim Ark of the Covenant has been found. Has it? It was a remote viewing, and I'm not saying that people that do that are not capable, but I am going to say anybody I've ever dealt with that does psychic type stuff is never 100% accurate. Ever. Never 100% accurate. No one is. So you shouldn't be, really. It would be almost impossible to be. I've seen people that are pretty accurate, and that can be, well, right around 50%, and it can be higher than that. I know there's some people that have done remote viewing, and they get similar things to each other, but again, our minds have filters baked into them, right? And we've got to push it through that filter no matter what. And you've got to have a really clear, clean channel, or else it's being filtered. And that is the key. That's the hard part for all of us that do anything similar to this. So it is what it is. They remotely viewed it. I forget where they said it was. I think they said it was in the Middle East. There you go. Right? And supposedly Trump's got a fake one at Mar-a-Lago, which I didn't know until today. I thought that was interesting, but meh. All right, we've got a couple interesting things coming from OMG. This is the ESPN producer calling Stephen Smith an angry black man. I don't think we need to play all of this, but Ryan Bertrand, he's a producer, assignment editor. He works at ESPN and sports radio. He had all this stuff to say about Mr. Stephen Smith, Stephen A. Smith to be very specific. Well, Stephen Smith was asked about it on his show, and he had opinions.
Let alone a production.
I don't have a problem with you. All right. So there was some audio that came out about someone at ESPN that works at ESPN, a producer that said some negative things about you.
Yep.
I didn't engage with that. Why? Because I don't have a problem with you.
Right.
I'm not some gossip columnist, some gossip reporter. But for that person to say, hey, I don't, or we don't, certain people don't feel a certain type of way about Stephen A. Smith. How does that make you feel when you hear something like that comes out?
Come on, RG, you know me. Made me laugh. I don't give a damn about what that person said. Listen, first of all, I never met him.
Right.
He's never worked with me. I don't know him. And I don't know why he would say the things that he says, but I don't want to sound wrong about this, but he's a production assistant. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that people do on an entry-level position in this business. And there's a lot of work. There's a lot of hardships. There's a lot of things that they got to go through in climbing that ladder. Well, no disrespect, but at ESPN, I'm at the top of the heap.
Top dog.
You know, and I've been in this business for 30 years. You think I'm going to worry about some new beginner that, you know, is sitting there chirping about? I could care less. Not even a little bit. And most importantly, as I've told you in the past, people going to hate.
Yeah.
People going to come for you.
No.
And the higher you climb, the more you exposed.
Correct.
And they're going to try to pull you down.
Yep.
And you got to be able to take it.
Yeah.
You understand? Now, taking it doesn't mean you always got to be quiet.
Right.
It doesn't mean that you never have a retort or a response, but it means that ultimately at the end of the day, no matter what the circumstances are, you got to be prepared to move on.
No doubt.
Because you got bigger fish to fry.
No doubt.
I don't care what most people have to say about me in this business, let alone a production assistant. I'm not concerned about it at all. Not even a little bit.
That sounded a little bit like a smack. I love how they started it off. They're like, well, I don't engage in gossip, but let me tell you what Rachel just said. It's like, it's pretty funny. So, anywho, yeah, this is kind of the BS that happens. Mostly the point of sharing it is the brighter you shine your lights, the more crap you will find. Now, it gets easier and better to deal with, but it's not even being negative either, folks. It's not like I'm manifesting that for you. It's just an unfortunate circumstance. The brighter you shine your light, the more people that don't like light will complain. Donald Trump, we got a lot of stuff. I got 3 different stories that are like heavy in the 17, heavy in the Q, heavy. So whatever the case is, there's a lot of this being pushed out right now. I think a lot of you guys are going to enjoy this.
It's dangerous in the oceans in terms of navigation. And if you look at what's happening with whales, in one area, they lost 2 whales, like in 20 years, washed ashore. And this year they had 17 wash ashore. So there's something happened out there. There's something driving the whales a little bit loco, but they lost 2 in 20 years. And now they lost 17 in a short period of time. So it's something wrong out there.
Yeah, something's wrong out there. That's for sure. So, interesting. The whales thing, of course, that ties into a lot of stuff. Obviously, I think the offshore wind turbines possibly could be, or if not, and this is also extraordinary. Oh, man. Ben Davison just did an update. The guy that does the solar storms and stuff. They finally updated some software. Got a new satellite that shows the magnetic field change. It's accelerating a lot. Like, he says he's upping his experience. He was expecting it to be 20 to 30, 20 to 40. He's bringing that closer. It's speeding way up. So we've got big problems that are happening around us. Trump has got this picture in his Mar-a-Lago. Where is this? At the golf club, National Golf Club in Los Angeles, so they can't take it down. And it's got the Q. It's got Durham's face hidden in it. Kind of cool. I think it's probably one of the artists that did a bunch of the Q stuff. Whatever the case is, Trump ended up with one, and it's got Q in it. Oh, my God, what's he saying to the world? MTA is greenlighting a $250 million for consultants to expand 2nd Avenue subway. An expected cost of $4.3 billion per mile to build. This is New York. This whole project's going to cost like $26 billion for not very far. Now, why do I bring this up in this section, you are wondering? The Metropolitan Transportation Authority Board rubber-stamped this $250,000. The Mega Plains Phase 2 to grow the Q line by 1.8 miles on the Upper East Side is expected to cost $7.7 billion, or an eye-watering roughly $4.3 billion per mile, making it one of the costliest subway projects in the world. Felt like there was a larger number somewhere in this story, but I could very well be confusing that with all of the crazy stories I've been seeing. So this is another part of the, I think, money that they were supposed to get from Trump, or that they were going to steal from one place to another that they're probably not getting anymore. Again, we'll see. The judges are having a fun time trying to stop him, of course. We've got General Flynn talking about how we cannot move forward without accountability for those that committed treason. Ultimately, it has to come out that treason was committed, that Trump not only was spied on and all that, which we get, but it needs to be proven. It needs to be shown for fact. It can't even just be Pam Bondi and then them busting someone. Like, I think it's got to be bigger than that. There's got to be, like, literally a picture of somebody, with their hand in the cookie jar, essentially. But anyway, here's Flynn talking about it.
We cannot move forward. The nation cannot move forward. I don't care how good our how much Trump, adjusts the economy, and he will. But we cannot move forward unless people are held accountable. And I mean very, very senior people, and they all know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about, and I've said it many times. It's the start with Obama and work your way down, right? I mean, maybe you don't throw a former president into prison, but maybe you do. Maybe somebody says, well, who directed you, John Brennan? Who directed you, Jim Clapper? Who directed you, Susan Rice? Under oath, under the lights, and with the threat of prison, okay? And so who directed you? Well, if they say nothing, okay, then that's fine. Then you're going to go to prison. You're going to prison. You're going to prison for treason. Okay, treason. That's a very strong word. It's a very strong word. And like all these pardons, right? These pardons, the only thing that can't overcome a pardon is treason, is the commitment of treason. I mean, I get called a traitor all the time. And I say, well, wait a second. And so if I'm a traitor, why am I walking the streets, right? If I committed treason, why am I walking the streets? I was never charged with that. They dismissed my case because they lied, right? And so, you think Mueller and Andrew Weissman, who was the deputy to Mueller, would have let me go had I was a traitor or that I committed treason? The treason was committed against me as not just Mike Flynn, an Army general, but the national security advisor by a duly elected president of the United States. The income or the outgoing administration under Barack H. Obama committed treason. They committed a conspiracy to undermine a duly elected president, and it hasn't stopped. It hasn't stopped.
Yeah. And we can't really win this without this stuff being exposed. Now, I believe, I hope that's what's going on, but we are seriously fighting a major, major fight. J.D. Vance posted this morning at Josh Krauser. He ran a hit piece against me in a Jewish Insider, which has become an anti-J.D. rag. It has many problems, including 7 anonymous quotes from cowardly Republicans. But the most glaring factual error is the below, which says the Houthis killed 3 Americans last January. Actually, the group responsible for that attack was Islamic Resistance in Iraq, which is an entirely different militia group. Now, you might say this is evidence of Khashoggi being the biggest hack in Washington, and you may be correct. Another very plausible explanation is that he's the dumbest journalist in Washington. Either way, shocking an error like this could get through this vaunted editorial process. He's douching hard on him. I love it. And I guess this part they're quoting, still some have felt that Vance's claim that the endeavor was largely about bailing Europe out again was an admission. He does not see the Houthis as a significant threat to U.S. national security, despite the terror group being responsible for the deaths of 3 U.S. service members last January, as well as the ongoing attacks on U.S. military vessels and allies. So he's, of course, calling them out like, dude, you're not even right. First off, Donald Trump Jr. couldn't resist either. And he says, how much do you want to bet these 7 Rhino senators anonymously crying about J.D. Vance to the leftist media are some of the same ones who have constantly trashed my father behind his back for years? Oh, and we'll find out who these Republican senators are. I think we could guess a few of them for sure, but we'll figure it out. We'll find out, and you guys will never win again. Tennessee State Rep. Justin Pearson has been restrained on the House floor after confrontation with Republican lawmaker. Kind of a interesting story. Like, I guess this dude gets all high and mighty on his high horse, talks about how he's been working so hard, but I guess he missed a whole bunch of votes and stuff prior because he was dealing with some family members or matters. So this farmer guy goes, I know every member in this committee has been here this year working during committee, during session, voting on bills. And I know you may have some things going on, but you have not. So I don't think it's fair for you to come in front of this committee and lecture us on hard work and convictions and hard work for our committee. Well, that pissed him off a lot, and he had to get in his face. We have, I think, one with audio going on here. And, of course, the friends of his are very proud of him, by the way. And this is my point, kind of, is more, this is the way the left thinks. This is okay to them. So we've got to understand this information war is a trip. One, it's about showing as many people that might wake up, this is what your side's doing, so they'll be like, I can't support this anymore, and a bunch will. But the ones that are still asleep, they actually believe this is okay. What we do is violence. What they do is perfectly okay because we're all Nazis and stuff.
Hi, farmer!
Anyway, yeah, they did get him out. This wasn't really anything good. This, I guess, is better, but you can't hear anything, which kind of feels like it ruins it a little. But yeah, he obviously had a lot to say, you know. And this dude's like, all right, whatever. And then eventually when they finally get his people pull him away and they're like, bruh, they probably had to say. I mean, let's be honest. And then the dude gets up and goes. He's like, all right, F this effer. And so, again, this is how they behave. They grandstand, they gaslight, they change facts to make them good, and he got called on it. He got called this bullshit, and then he got all up in his face. Probably threw the... I don't know. He might have said the N-word. I don't know. I was wondering if he threw the N-word out. Who knows? Elon Musk has been tapped to help lead the investigation into the Signal chat leak. I found something. I don't know. Maybe it's going to come up here or not. I don't know. That the gentleman that added everybody to this group, he's taking ownership of it. He's basically saying that he must have added this guy, Mike Waltz, that guy. He is the he's the National Security Advisor. And he wants to know, essentially, like, how this happened. I don't even know this dude. Like, I thought it was somebody else, is what he's saying. So, again, what's being played to us, I honestly feel like is they're telling us what they have to tell us, which, to me, part of this feels like he thought he was inviting somebody else who ended up not even being there, right? Sorry, Mike Waltz thought. I should highlight the right name. He thought he was inviting somebody else. Why? That's really the question. Did it say Mike Waltz, or did it just say something like MW, and he thought that might have been, Margaret White or something else, right? Like some other person. Maybe, because they all had like lame names inside this group, right? Not to be revealing information in case anybody sees it. Again, I still think and believe this has all been about trying to get rid of Signal. And right now we've got a lot of noise coming from the Democrats to do just that, and we'll get there, which I think is what they wanted the whole time. I really do. I know it's playing out kind of weird, but I actually think that was the plan. I don't know. I think this was on purpose. Well, whatever. We'll find out what we find out. But Paul Sperry posted this. Through the NSA, Waltz admits that he built the Signal group. He claims, I don't know this guy, Goldberg, whom he calls a loser. Also claims that I don't text him. He speculates Goldberg somehow got sucked into his phone contacts and says Elon Musk is being brought in to figure it out. So hopefully Musk can actually, figure it out. That would be nice. Now, interestingly, a German outlet reportedly finds Trump officials' private contact info. Now, it's specifically Hegseth, Tulsi Gabbard, Mike Waltz, right? And they found this on the dark web. So German news outlet Der Spiegel reportedly got this information from somebody. And they pulled not only email addresses, but passwords, a whole bunch of information, their mobile numbers. So they're just demonstrating, I guess. And I think they're trying to tie this to Signals, my guess as well. One, they want to try to impeach these guys. We'll get there as well. Two, they're trying to prove that they're not up for the task because these guys are literally doing what needs to be done, and we love it. And they're trying to get us to not like them. I'm going to, again, be curious to see how many people don't support this. Mike Waltz, I hope, makes it through this, but we'll see. He might have been sacrificed all along. We don't know. It might have been a possibility, but hopefully he makes it. I think he will. This is really stupid. Nothing came out. Nothing got leaked, and the attack happened beautifully. And we might finally be getting rid of something and having the approval of Congress to do it. Because it just seems like the Democrats easily get tricked into all sorts of things. I just have a hard time believing that this is quite as, like, how did this reporter, how was he even a contact that he could choose in this Signal app? That's kind of weird, right? Like, I mean, unless they've got, obviously secret communications that are happening with press people, which is probably how some of these leaks are occurring from anonymous sources. Again, we're being told stuff here. I don't know what the key takeaway is, if there is one, or if it's like, we got to get rid of this stupid app. Because they can't do this if we get rid of this app. So I don't know. We'll see. Senate Dems are proposing sprawling Signal chat probe. First off, it deletes the records. Second off, if there is top secret stuff going on, hardly anybody, they'd have to be in a skiff, and very few people are, read up to be able to even probably see the information. But whatever. So 16 Democrats Thursday are asking 3 Senate panels to compel testimony from top Trump officials, including Vice President Vance, involved in this group chat. They're making a huge mountain out of this small molehill. Now, interestingly, also, or adding more interesting, some ground interesting on top, kind of like a truffle, I guess. Catherine Mayer, the leftist NPR CEO and currently the chair of the board of Signal. She is an appointed member of the U.S. Department of State Foreign Affairs Policy Board, where she advises the Secretary of State on technology policy. She's the head of Signal. She's in charge of saying, hey, you should use this app. It's secure. Now, here's something else that's funny. Here's her views on truth. Literally, truth. She doesn't like it, and it gets in the way.
But one of the most significant differences, critical for moving from polarization to productivity, is that the Wikipedians who write these articles aren't actually focused on finding the truth. They're working for something that's a little bit more attainable, which is the best of what we can know right now. And after 7 years there, I actually believe that they're onto something. That for our most tricky disagreements, seeking the truth and seeking to convince others of the truth isn't necessarily the best place to start. In fact, I think our reverence for the truth might have become a bit of a distraction that is preventing us from finding consensus and getting important things done.
That's communism. Consensus over truth. Rather than making sure your people are aware of what's happening, or at least as much as you can, we need to make sure they're following this consensus instead. That's where there's malinformation. You remember all that? That's their argument for that. These are the things we have to clean up, or it's never, ever, ever going to get better. Ilhan Omar plots to impeach Signalgate officials. Okay. This is fun. Federal judge sets first hearing in the Signal chat case. This dude, we're going to talk about it, I think, 3 different places, or at least 3 different stories, and they're all over the damn place. So, spoiler alert. This federal judge, who also was the one that said that the people going down to the Tren de Aragua, people being deported, that he needed to turn the plane around. Same guy somehow magically ends up drawing the case for the Signal stuff. And remember, Mayor's, however you say her name, this chick, and she's in charge of Signal, and now he's going to be the judge for the Signal case. It's got deep state written all over it, folks, right? Trump wants investigation of how deportation judge was assigned Signal case, says odds impossible. It's like, what's up? How did this happen? Wants an investigation. I'm curious to see if they do. He says statistically impossible. They're supposed to be randomly chosen. But yet he somehow got it. Randomly. Sure he did. I don't know how many judges there are, but there's a number of them in the D.C. district. And he keeps getting all the key cases that really matter. This is going to be their thing they're going to try to build impeachment off of, obviously. I don't think it's going to get far enough along. And again, I just can't believe that we're going to find out what happened. We're going to find out how they cheated. We're going to find out who was behind this. I really don't have a doubt on that. And I think this is part of bringing it to the public's awareness. This is what the left is attempting to do in order to basically shoot down what a whole bunch of us voted for, an overwhelming majority. Canada's barring Tesla from the rebate program over the Trump tariffs. So now Canada's just like, they're punishing Tesla specifically. They're punishing Musk. This is again, deep state. Canada, deep state. Heavy deep state control. This is all the attacks that they're doing. So they're attacking Musk because he's helping. And he's the only person right now that can actually put shit in space, which is kind of funny. Kind of funny. I mean, we've got a few other space agencies that can kind of launch stuff, but Musk is able to do the International Space Station. Nobody else really can. I mean, Russia can. Soyuz, they've done it. But that's really kind of off the table too right now, isn't it? Oh, yes, funny. So, again, Canada's trying to fight back. Canada vows to retaliate to Trump's direct attack. This story actually came out after they'd already done their little Tesla shenanigan. Canada's vowing to retaliate Trump's direct attack. The automobile tax is going in, or tariff. We're going to be talking about that shortly. The markets weren't liking this, still aren't liking this. They were down more. Usually that's kind of what happens. They rebound a little towards the day. But gold and silver up a bunch today, in fact. So, yeah, it definitely went up. We're sitting at 34.38 right now. Good Lord. That is really good. The high was 34.52. So, obviously, everybody's nervous and should be, because this tariff war is actually going to cause problems. Folks, I'm telling you, if you've got a 401k or an IRA, I don't know how much time you got. I don't. Could be weeks, could be months. Not going to be many months. A lot of people talking about stuff coming up. April, too, just keeps popping up. But I get nervous. I get nervous whenever anybody starts trying to prognosticate a month. But we are at the point where stuff does need to start happening like rapidly, or else we're going to be in a world of hurt when it comes to midterms. So we either seriously start making the progress, and we seem to be. I think we're moving really fast myself. So I'm not saying I'm nervous in any way, but I'm just saying for sure that the stock market's going to crash. I can't say that. It's for legal reasons mostly, but do I believe it's going to? Yeah, I do. How bad is it going to be? I don't know. That's where I hope to God Trump is helping to make the fall not so brutal. But we are going to go through a bump in the night. I'm just telling you, if you've got a 401k or an IRA in their system with their stocks, with their dollar, I would be very concerned. You got a company that can help you get out tax-free, penalty-free very quickly. They've got DocuSign and all this great stuff. They make it so easy. They have amazing customer service. So all the questions you got, they're going to answer. You're going to get up to 10% of the face value of free silver. You're also, if you qualify, going to get a free half-ounce silver Ronald Reagan coin. That's worth, what, $17 right now? Just $17 a coin. That's pretty awesome. They've got, again, the highest price buyback guarantee. They've got 5-star ratings. They are trusted all over the place. These guys are awesome. 3 reasons to get your gold IRA kit. You're going to learn how to safeguard your savings tax-free and penalty-free. You're going to learn how to protect and grow your retirement. And they're going to send you this kit for free. No shipping and handling or anything. That's all you got to do. Go to drslikesgold.com. 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 Get out of that system before they get out of you. And we all know they want to. Badly. Oops. We've got more Trump here on the phone. I don't know who this dude is, but he's, I think maybe he's Patriot Control. I think it's who keeps sharing it. I've seen this guy pop up a couple times now. Whoever he is, I don't know. He's all right. I like him. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know who he is. Just popped up recently. I love people that are instantly famous. It's pretty cool. Anyways, and someone's going to tell me, I know, and that's cool. I don't know who it is. But 127 of this guy and Donald Trump talking about, probably some secrets that we're about to find out about, especially around the hurricane, that Operation Hurricane thing. This is kind of a weird connection Trump makes.
Right. The law firms are being gone after very much, and they virtually admit they cheated. We have them in a very strong position, but there's been a lot of cheating going on.
One of the law firms
people have never seen anything like it, and we have to stop it.
One of the law firms that you've been going after, Perkins Coie, which was responsible for contracting a guy called Christopher Steele to draw up a huge document of lies about you that led to all sorts of Trump-Russia collusion allegations for years. You announced yesterday that you also are declassifying all of the documents from the Trump-Russia collusion hoax from what they call Crossfire Hurricane in the FBI. Right. What do you think people are going to learn from those documents?
I think they're going to learn how corrupt the election was. It was a very corrupt election. You're talking about the second election, I assume. That was an election that I won. I won by a lot. And you're going to find that out. The documents are there. The numbers are there. We won that by a lot. Mm-hmm. We won 3 elections, and we did very well in the second one. Now, the third one, we blew it away. The third one, we said, too big to rig. And it was too big to rig. But that second election, it was the COVID nightmare, and a lot of that had to play. But that was a rigged election, totally rigged.
So he's tying in Crossfire Hurricane to the election and the cheating of the election. I don't know. Other people seemed miffed by that too. Like, not miffed, but like, huh? Like, what are you saying? That's a very strange connection. And I'm sure it's going to get hammered from the left, possibly, but maybe not, because it'll bring attention to it. But still, we'll see. Donald Trump truth this. As we advance our America First agenda, it is essential that we maintain every Republican seat in Congress. We must be unified to accomplish our mission, and Elise Stefanik has been a vital part of our efforts from the very beginning. I have asked Elise, as one of my biggest allies, to remain in Congress to help me deliver historic tax cuts, great jobs, record economic growth, a secure border, energy dominance, peace through strength, and much more, so we can make America great again. With a very tight majority, I don't want to take a chance on anyone else running for Elise's seat. The people love Elise, and with her, we have nothing to worry about come Election Day. There are others that can do a good job at the United Nations. Therefore, Elise will stay in Congress, rejoin the House leadership team, and continue to fight for our amazing American people. Speaker Johnson is thrilled. I look forward to the day when Elise is able to join my administration in the future. She is absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Elise. Not only does he basically say, look, I'm not going to choose her, he removes all ability for the deep state to spin it, which they wanted to. They'll probably still do it in Politico and stuff. Well, insiders say that Trump actually said this but doesn't believe it, right? There'll be some stupid thing they'll make up, whatever the case is. Insider Paper posted this. President Donald Trump's administration is set to cut funding to Gavi, the global health organization that provides vaccines. For those that aren't totally aware, a little more information on Gavi that I can offer you. So Bill Gates is now in panic mode, it seems, after President Trump said that he will terminate support for Gavi initiative, which aims to vaccinate half the world's children. In total, 5,341 foreign aid awards will be terminated. Bill Gates was getting from USAID managing 5,341 different awards and grants. Think about that. He's representing just under $76 billion. President Trump ends childhood vaccine funding in poorest countries. This has been a depopulation agenda. Children have always been the target. I mean, that's what a lot of people think, and I don't know if I disagree with that. I'll tell you that much. It sure seems like it's accomplished that, at least in Africa. They haven't been real kind. Trump truthed this out. Whatever happened to the $8 million given by our government to radical left Politico magazine, or whatever you would call it? Owned by wealthy guys, this money should be taken back by Doge ASAP. Also, is Stacey Abrams going to give back the $2 billion they funneled into her environmental fund just prior to my assuming office? She went from $100 in donations to $2 billion in just one day. Not bad. Get back the money. He wants it. We want it. Hopefully it comes. Comer probes NGOs that received the $20 billion in Biden's EPA grants. That stuff that was sitting in that Chase account offshore. Yeah, they're probing that now. They're looking into it. They're like, what happened here? Is this Trump team needs to get us a refund? Yeah, let's listen. How long is this? 3 minutes. What the hell? Let's do it.
Lee Zeldin, Trump's EPA administrator. Is this a kickback? Is it theft? Is it graft? What would you call it?
All the above. It's a green slush fund. $20 billion parked at an outside bank towards the end of the Biden administration, given to just 8 NGOs. You just named a bunch of them. These NGOs were created for the first time, many of them just to get this money. And they're pass-throughs. So the EPA entered into this account control agreement with these entities. Treasury enters into a financial agent agreement with the bank, and they design it to tie the EPA's hands behind their back, to tie the federal government's hands behind its back. So when the money goes through the NGOs to subgrantees, many of them also pass-throughs. We don't know where it's going. We don't have the proper amount of oversight. And as you pointed out, it's going to people who are in the Obama and Biden administrations. It's going to donors. It's not going directly, as you pointed out, thankfully you did, it's not going directly to remediate that environmental issue to deliver clean air, land, and water. It's billions, tens of billions of dollars going through their friends.
Well, they're going to say they didn't steal it. They're just going to say they got paid salaries and then they donated it to some other subcontractor who got paid salaries, and it eventually went to some kid to pick up litter. Right? Because like at the end of this, what's it like 5% of this money actually goes towards the environment? How much actually goes towards the environment after it's been just stripped out for salaries?
Right. And stripped out for salaries of middleman after middleman going through these multiple added layers. I'll give you an example. On the other end of this, there was one CEO who was serving on the White House Environmental Justice Council for the Biden administration. While she was serving on this council, she was CEO of an organization that applied for and received $20 million. So some people were able to, with the right connections, be on the receiving end of billions of dollars. Others on the other end of this getting tens of millions of dollars, and the federal government not having oversight. And I just mentioned the account control agreements that were entered into at EPA and these prime recipients. They were amending the account control agreements right up to the inauguration. There were amended account control agreements we found January 13th.
So they were scrambling before you guys got in there and kicked some tires.
They amended it.
So
yeah, they amended these account control agreements to reduce EPA oversight and to make it easier for them to pass through the money without getting caught.
So you caught them. And have you kicked this over to Pam Bondi at Justice?
Yeah, the Justice Department and FBI have been working very closely with us. They've been working hard on this. My conversations with the Attorney General, she seems very focused and motivated. Same thing when I had an opportunity to speak to our great new FBI director. We have to ensure that there's accountability here, and we have to make sure that the federal government reestablishes oversight. We can't afford as a country to have this kind of money wasted. We should have zero tolerance for even a penny of waste and abuse.
Wow.
But there should be no way that tens of billions are going up.
A lot of scandals in the Biden administration, but this seems like a whopper. Glad you found it out. Lee Zeldin, we really appreciate it. Let's get to the bottom of it.
Thanks, Jesse.
Yeah, that's just crazy, right? So we better get that money back, especially knowing who it's going to. It's all going to Biden and them, please. RFK Jr. plans. Oops. I was like, I am hearing stuff. RFK Jr. plans 10,000 job cuts and major restructuring of the health department. We'll see if that gets there. U.S. is suspending financial contributions to the World Trade Organization, trade sources say. But this is coming from the World Trade Organization people. They've probably received some sort of notification that we will not be resubscribing, is my guess. So, yeah, they probably did leak this. I think this is probably legit. So Trump, good, is getting us out of the WTO. Fantabulous. Doge slashes billions more in expenses for programs like Peruvian climate change and gender equity in Mexico. Apparently, we're up to $130 billion in savings, and that's $807.45 per taxpayer. Not bad. Not bad. Step in the right direction. Hopefully we get much further. Let's see, what do we got here? Republicans are introducing a bill to pull all government funding from NPR and PBS. They're trying to do this through Congress, which is perfect. I don't know how they're going to pass this stuff in the Senate. That seems to be concerning. I don't know how that's going to play out, especially when we've got, well, at least 7 senators that we can't trust. So interesting. And I mean, Fetterman might come on board with some of this stuff. I don't know, but we got to hit 60, I think, to be able to pass anything. Something to do with the filibuster and all this. I think they can pass 2 bills a year. Someone explained it to me, that gentleman that owns that Italian restaurant. We have good talks. I like his talks. He's out of town. I was out of town this week. I was very, very bummed. Missing my buddy. Let's see. Justice Department proposes merging ATF with the DEA. That's kind of interesting, right? A Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives. They just never wanted to add another letter. They would have to change all their T-shirts. Can't do that. But yeah, they want to put them together, and also the Drug Enforcement Administration. That kind of makes a lot of sense, combining some of these agencies. I mean, you can still have the same number of people, but you're sharing resources. That's better. It just is. And I know that's not what government likes. Government likes to get as big as it possibly can, because the larger it is, the more bureaucracy exists, the harder it is to control things. When you get it smaller and condensed, it's actually manageable. or borderline manageable at least. And so that gives us a chance. FBI Director Kash Patel posted this. I can now confirm that earlier this morning, law enforcement personnel arrested a top MS-13 leader in Virginia. Outstanding work from AG Pam Bondi, our brave agents, CPP and government, VA, and our state and local partners. This is a massive victory for the Safer America. Justice is coming. And top MS-13 leader was arrested in Virginia. Huge. Authorities made the arrest just south of Washington, D.C. It's another one of the top 10, I think, right? The America's Most Wanted or whatever. So huge stuff. Also, Colombia agrees to share migrant data with the U.S. after candid talks with Kristi Noem. And we'll show a video of her actually standing in front of a bunch of the jailers, or the dudes in jail for that matter. I don't know if this is the video. So where's the Pam Bondi video? I think it might be this guy. Let's see. Let's see if this, I think this is Pam Bondi on here. Oh no, it's 9 minutes. It can't be it. I had a video of her saying something, but whatever. I can't find it now. Was this it? Whatever. Screw it. Pam Bondi, I was talking about how she did this. I was going to give her the credit just like Cash did. At least we told you about it. All right, now we're official and moving on. Here's Kristi Noem standing in front of a bunch of gangbangers. Like, dude, that's like waving a fish in front of a shark, I would think. I mean, she's a good-looking girl. And nice figure and all that kind of stuff, and standing in front of, and these guys are all being well behaved, which doesn't make any sense at all. I don't know. I don't get this.
Here at CCOT today and visiting this facility. And first of all, I want to thank El Salvador and their president for their partnership with the United States of America to bring our terrorists here and to incarcerate them and have consequences for the violence that they have perpetuated in our communities. I also want everybody to know, if you come to our country illegally, this is one of the consequences you could face. First of all, do not come to our country illegally. You will be removed and you will be prosecuted. But know that this facility is one of the tools in our toolkit that we will use if you commit crimes against the American people.
Yeah. This is a powerful, like scared straight kind of thing for a lot of people. They're like, I don't want to end up there, especially if they're from this country, because there's a strong chance you're going to end up in there. A lot of those guys seem like they're behaving well, which kind of a trip. Press Secretary Leavitt says today is Podcast Row at the White House. Kind of cute. I didn't sign up for this, so I'm not upset that I didn't get reached out to, right? So if any of you guys are like, Dan, did they reach out to? No, but I didn't fill out the thing when they tried. So I had no interest in going to Washington, D.C. at all.
Hey everybody, today is Podcast Row here at the White House, and our team has gathered a room full of podcasters with cabinet officials, White House officials who are talking to them about the president and his agenda. And I bet you the people in that room have much more viewers than CNN and the legacy media. Just saying, we're proud to welcome them to the White House.
Very true, actually. Not all of us, but if you add up some of us, I love it. I'm growing every day. I love it. Trump announces additional 25% tariff on auto imports. I think I sort of hinted at this earlier. Specifically going to really affect Mexico, Canada, South Korea, Japan, and Germany. Again, reciprocal tariffs. And he's like Japan wants to stop having tariffs on our automobiles. We're going to start selling more of our cars overseas. People are going to actually want to buy them because they're like, dude, I got an American car, which they don't have. Nobody will have them. Think about how popular they'll be right up front. We'll sell a crap ton of them just because, one, they're now they're affordable, or at least there's a chance. And two, nobody's got one. Everybody loves that. Here's Donald Trump talking about trying to abolish the very concept of womanhood in, anyway, I'll let him talk about it. I forget if he's just the big picture or if he's ripping it, because there's a California story that's similar. Anyway, I'm confusing stuff. Check it out.
For 4 long years, we had an administration that tried to abolish the very concept of womanhood and replace it with radical gender ideology. Maybe you heard something about that. They destroyed women's spaces and even tried to replace the word mother with the term birther person. A mother became a birther person. What's that all about? Then you wonder why they lost. They're trying to figure out why did they lose. I saw a congressman today for the Democrats. He was having a big fight on television early this morning, trying to make it so that really he thinks men should play in women's sports. He hasn't given that up yet. He was fighting like crazy. I said, this guy is going to lose. He's going to lose badly. The whole party is still into that. They haven't learned, and we don't want them to learn, frankly. We want them to keep fighting. Let's not tell them. Under the Trump administration, we're ending the Marxist war on women, and you had a war on women, and we're protecting women's rights, defending women's dignity, and standing up for the American moms and daughters. So many are represented here, great people in this room. American women have never had bigger champions than all of us in the White House. I mean, it's me, but it's the group of men and women.
I'd like to say I'm maybe a leg and ass guy, but I like women with big champions too. I'm going to be honest. I like a good set of big champions. They're outstanding. He's probably not referring to those, I'm sure, but whatever. Democrat Rep. Dan Goldman, he's calling the FBI task force on Tesla terrorism political weaponization of the DOJ. Again, these people literally think firebombing private property is okay. Why? Because it's insured. That's their answer. So I got to pay higher premiums and get effed, and then now have to deal with an insurance company that's going to take many, many, many weeks to ever get paid for the stuff that just got damaged and I can't make up for. That's, in their mind, okay. We're the violent ones. I kid you not. It's not that they have like a rational thought in there. They literally believe they're right. That it's okay. That the cause justifies the action. This is what the brown shirts were during World War II, or well, before World War II with Hitler, as he was on his rise. As much as they love to call us Nazis. Kind of funny, because the shoe seems to fit oddly well. I don't know. Just saying. Rep Crockett, I don't know. It's really hard to hear because it's fast. Maybe it was because the first time I watched. It's 11 seconds. She says a lot in 11 seconds, by the way. We'll play it, though. What the hell?
Why won't you apologize?
I put out a statement. They didn't have an apology.
So read my statement.
I did read it. It did not have an apology.
Okay, well, I'm done.
You don't feel bad about making fun of someone?
I'm done. Why won't you apologize?
I'm done with you. That's it. I mean, why won't you apologize? I put out a statement that didn't have an apology in it. And Crockett, so read my statement. She's like, I did read it, and there was no apology. And Crockett's like, okay, well, I'm done with this. You don't feel bad about making fun of someone? And she's like, I'm done. I'm going. I mean, the Hot Wheels comment, I mean, I kind of thought was funny. I'm going to be honest. I am. I mean, I know it's insensitive, but it kind of was. Now, she said other shitty stuff during that same statement that I have problem with, and then she followed up with, or saying that, who is it? Crews need to be, like, just hit in the head or knocked out or something. She's, like, some really wild language, and we're staying away from that. But we're all worried about Governor Abbott being called Hot Wheels. Again, it's us doing the exact same thing they're doing, and I think I honestly think it's just the sleepy people. It's why I don't bother programming to them. Like, my show is not to people that are still asleep. I just don't care. They'll wake up when they wake up, and when they do, there's going to be a happy home for them, but I'm not going to waste my time trying to wake people up. I know I can't, first off. And second off, they're just annoying. It's annoying. You can't rationalize with somebody that just can't see facts, refuses to accept other thoughts. And man, there's a bunch of people like that regarding a whole lot of things. It's weird. All right, we got a whole bunch of stuff with judges and crap like that pissing me out. This was the hardest part of the show for me today when I was pulling the news. I'm like, mother F. So I'm going to, let the bat out. What's cool? We're going to get through this. We got good stuff happening too, but it sucks. It's just so overreach. I just don't get it. I don't get why somebody's not like the Supreme Court or somebody, right? Like guacamole comes in and then sour cream. It's like, well, right, well, the Supremes have to come now, right? We've got the witch voodoo thing. It's now a Supreme thing, right? Like, fudge. Judge Howell has dismissed the Trump administration's attempt to remove her from the Perkins Coie case, labeling the move as a personal attack meant to divert attention from their own weak legal position. Again, judges. She adds that the Trump administration's legal argument sounds like a talking point to a member of Congress, but is this the one I'm thinking of? Yeah, it just sounds like a talking point. Anyway, she's being, I don't know, a bit dismissive, to say the least. Whatever. Well, I mean, it's not a surprise to anybody. It's what's happening. The D.C. Circuit Court has upheld Judge Boasberg. That's the douchehole on the thumbnail, the guy that was in charge of trying to turn the planes around, the guy that's now in charge of the signal thing. D.C. Circuit Court upheld Judge Boasberg's injunction against deportations under the Alien Enemies Act. So now he's blocking us from being able to even get rid of people that are literally enemies of the state, Because what? He wants to verify and validate whether or not they are, in fact, enemies of the state? I don't give a shit what you think, Justice. That's not your job. They're not legal citizens. They aren't protected by the Constitution. So you don't actually have a right to follow this. I'm not even a legal dude, and I can see that. Get out of here. Anyway, I know he disagrees, but whatever. So they're denying that request. Though, is this the one? Yeah. But there is these guys, America First Legal. Their part, though, is okay. It's kind of interesting. Since Judge Boasberg didn't have sufficient time to read AFL's amicus brief showing Judge don't have the power to obstruct President Trump from using the Alien Enemy Act to deport violent Venezuelan criminals, we filed it with the D.C. Circuit of Court of Appeals instead. And so this has ordered that the motion to participate as amicus curiae be granted. The clerk is directed to file the alleged amicus briefs. So at least it's sort of moving forward. Kind of is. These guys are moving it forward, and they might just say they don't have standing or something crazy, but I think they've done a lot of good stuff for us. These guys are awesome. I don't know what gold is. What's gold? It's pretty cool. These guys are worth it, that's for sure. An incredible group. Appreciate the hell out of them. I should actually follow them probably too. That would be smart. Fulton County DA Fannie Willis has been given until May 10th to testify before the panel. Or else, no, you'll love this. You know what happens if she doesn't show up by May 10th? Do you know what happens? Just real quick, take a guess. What happens? Nothing. Then they're going to go to a judge and say, hey, judge, can you subpoena her? This is stupid. So yeah, they, let's see, where was it? The Senate Committee Investigation 5-2 vote along party lines. Set the deadline. If she fails to appear, the committee plans to ask a judge to set a deadline. So we're going to set a deadline, and if you don't attest to that deadline, I'll ask this judge to give you a deadline. Take that and stuff. I fuck how we've gotten this far. I don't even understand how we've made it this far, but it's all right, whatever. That's cool. Appeals court halts order forcing Doge to turn over records. Yeah, so I don't know, whatever. The federal appeals court has temporarily paused a Washington judge order that would force Elon Musk and his department to comply with evidence demands from Democratic state officials who claim the billionaire is exercising unconstitutional power. First off, he's not an employee of the government. So you can't really force him, I don't think, from that standpoint. Like, you don't really have rights over that. He's just a dude that's volunteering. You're going to go after the volunteer? No, someone else got to come in and answer those questions, which would be that lady. I don't remember what her name is. U.S. Justice Department backs Trump bid to move hush money case to federal court. His own people are kind of trying to help. It's where it belongs, the hush money case, and also from the standpoint of the fact that people are now, quote unquote, trying to go after the president. Well, it's of the Department of Justice's job to protect the president, no matter what, always. It's kind of like when you're in a company. One of the most painful lessons in companies is realizing that HR is actually not there for you as an employee. It's there to protect the company from you. And then try to follow all the laws and all that nonsense. But they're not there. A lot of times they paint it out like, no, we're here for the employee. No, you're not. Get the shit out of here. Go talk to somebody who actually trusts you. Won't be me, that's for sure. I've never been fired, by the way, for something like totally crazy or anything. Don't get me wrong. I sort of dated an HR chick for a short period of time. Okay, we went on a few dates. I dated, she would probably disagree with, but I always had a crush on her when I worked with her. She wouldn't date me when I worked with her, and then put on some weight after I stopped smoking, and then she thought I was cute all of a sudden. Whatever the hell. I don't know. It didn't work out, but it was fun as hell. Did you know the D.C. judge who forced the Trump administration to temporarily restore funding for foreign aid, his name's Amir Hatem Mahdi Ali, only became a U.S. citizen in 2019 and holds dual citizenship with Canada. Judge Amir Ali, who was appointed by Joe Biden on November 22nd, 2024, immediately after the 2024 election, is the first Muslim federal judge. Raises serious concerns all over the place. He obviously hates Trump as well. How do we deal with this? I don't know. Dual citizenship should be banned from government officials. I guess anybody can become a judge, but I don't necessarily like the idea of somebody that's not a naturalized citizen becoming a judge. I kind of don't. It's the highest courts of the land you can end up in, and you can do silly things like these people are doing right now. So I don't know. Maybe we learn a lesson from this. We'll see. A federal judge indicated such similar words, indicated Wednesday that he may narrow an earlier ruling that required the Trump administration to rehire nearly 25,000 probationary workers. Initially, he said, you must rehire them all. And he's like, I guess that's not really fair because there's 19 states that are doing this, so making the other states hire them back too is stupid because they didn't sue. So 19 states maybe have to hire back people. It lowers the number a little bit. I don't know if it changes the fact that it's probably still illegal for the judge to try to make him do this. We'll see what happens. Appeals court won't pause ruling that forced the U.S. to reinstate federal workers. They're trying to get a pause. I think it was on that same thing. In the judge's ruling, they're not going to pause it. So this is going to have to push up to the Supreme Court. I'll be curious again to see how this plays out. The Supreme Court's going to have a very interesting challenge. It's going to be kind of like some of the stuff that was going up regarding Trump's, whether or not he was, protected, right? While he was being a president. And so the Supreme Court kind of ruled out on a lot of stuff there. They also ruled on some of the alphabet agencies and not being able to push the rules the way they were, like their laws. So it's interesting how they've typically ruled in complex issues similar to this, in my opinion. I think we're going to see something similar, and I think that's a part of what's going on right now. It's like, all right, get all the damn cases up, get them out. Whoever you are that wants to either end up ruining your career or get on TV, put your case out, Judge Wapner or whoever you are now, right? Like, okay, that's okay, get them out there. Because we're going to deal with them, essentially as many of them as possible at once. So I'm curious to see. And that's going to be, I would love it if they'll televise that. That's going to be a shit show when they come in there and try to argue this stuff. And the executive branch is like, why should judges at such a low level be able to tell me I can't do something and stop me from doing something that matters? Especially for national security. Like, there's just no way. Federal judge again denies Pentagon's military trans ban after asked to dissolve order. So gender dysphoria is not like other medical conditions, something defendants well know. It affects only one group of people. All persons with gender dysphoria are transgender, and only transgender persons experience gender dysphoria. Basically saying, look, it's a mental thing. I don't have a problem with them. We're not going to treat them differently. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with these people. I'm just saying we can't have people with mental disorders in the ranks, out in the foxhole, in the battlefield. Dangerous. What happens if you run out of meds? What if you run out of lipstick? What's going to happen? You just can't. It doesn't work. You need people that are a fighting force, not people that are wondering what color their heels should be. I love this product, the Wellness Company. They've got some really good stuff. And considering that we know, I saw another measles story that came in. Somebody, they took the train and they spread it all over the place. Supposedly. Nobody's dying from it or anything crazy. It's kind of stupid. I can't find it. Where the hell are you? There you are. TWC.health/OTF. That's TWC.health/OTF. They've got these med kits. Love the med kits. Especially the first aid. You guys should definitely have a first aid kit. Everybody should have a first aid kit, or at least, especially going into the times we're going, or at least make sure you've got a crap ton of extra bandages, things like Bactine, rubbing alcohol, Neosporin. Like, get a bunch of that. Their first aid kits have some other cool stuff. Their medical emergency kit actually has it has antibiotics, it has a whole bunch of medicines, all sorts of crazy stuff too. I would recommend the kits a lot. The Contagion kit's the one I talk about all the time. Still think it's the best one, really, because you can buy Band-Aids and crap at the store. You can buy a lot of this stuff. You can't buy antibiotics and stuff. You can get them these kits because these are doctors that work at the Wellness Company. That's kind of how this works. So you're literally getting like a prescription, if you will, and they're sending it to you. The Contagion kit, though, is the one that's got ibuprofen. It's got HCQ. It's got another antiviral in there with the generic Tamiflu, I think it is. It's got another, what the hell? Let's just open it up because I'm forgetting. It's got the breathing thing, and what's the top right? Yeah, azithromycin, which is, an antibiotic. Very strong one, too. And you get 12 tablets. This kit's got like all sorts of stuff you would need. It's got 5 vials of the Pulmicort, which is like asthma medication, or if you had a really bad upper respiratory infection going on, which, by the way, ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine would totally help start to reduce that very quickly, by the way. But if it's really bad, Then you start using the Pulmicort that helps open those airwaves. You've got a nebulizer to use it. There's 5 vials. There's a lot in this. If you or a family member got super sick, this is a lifesaver. Period. Right? It's worth the cost. It's a lifesaver. And I think 2 people could flow on this, but frankly, that's 1 person per kit. That's out. So if you ever use it and 2 of you are using it, don't tell them that when you get the refill, right? Just saying. I'm not telling you to lie. I'm just saying, yeah. So, incredible. Also, the anti-aging. Oh, they got a whole bunch of stuff in here. Drop weight support. Wow. They got Roots Hydro. What is this? Smile toothpaste? Wow. The ivermectin and mebendazole, though, this is, wow. The longevity one's kind of interesting, too. It helps with just keeping you living longer. But this one's a parasite cleanse. For any of you guys that have an idea of what parasites are, this is huge. If you're going through any sort of treatments, again, you want to consider options that are maybe not like every other option. Again, this is a 90-day oral capsules. 90 days, you're going to probably see a huge difference. If you got some tests coming up in a little while, I would recommend popping these things and just looking forward to hearing your doctor tripping out. It's like, how did your numbers get so much better? What's going on here? You'd be like, I got an idea, but I don't think you'd believe it. So I don't know. Let's call it prayer, right? I would say let's call it that. Parasite cleanse. This is huge. This is huge. For some people, this might actually save your life. You know, parasites can be a very, very problematic thing, especially if you understand some of the other things that might actually be more parasitic than we realize. Viruses and parasites, to me, are much the same. They really are. And I think tomato as far as what you call one versus the other. So I think this word's intentionally used, but think about the bigger picture. I love this stuff. twc.health/OTF. twc.health/OTF. They got virtual care. They got memberships. They got a whole bunch of resources. It's awesome stuff. Hit the site. At least check it out. But as far as products, dude, you want to definitely get the Contagion. You want to get this parasite cleanse. These are things you want. The anti-aging too. The longevity is good stuff. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different supplements they've got. They've got a very powerful supplement line. twc.health/OTF. That's twc.health/OTF. Healthy thoughts, healthy choices. Yeah, these are one of those things. Believe me, I'm all about health and trying to make sure we promote healthy life within ourselves. I don't know why I'm sharing this one. I think I probably should minimize if I can. Why did we this? Okay, let's try to not do that. Let's see if we can do it this way. Oh, yeah, that's right. The El Salvador thing. All right, let's check this out. I think this is what we wanted to share. Anyways.
Deporting them to El Salvador to their mega prison becomes as an Obama-appointed judge.
Oh, no, this is, yeah, so, okay, yeah, this is Greg Abbott. All right, cool, sorry. This is what I wanted to play. He's slamming the judges for blocking deportation. Sorry, just to put some context around this. I was like, what the hell?
Temporarily blocking the president from invoking a wartime act for deportations. They told him to turn the plane around. Trump didn't. Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett joins us now. Greg, pretty dramatic stuff.
Yeah, it really is. And I think the judge here, James Boasberg, has made several errors. First of all, he issued a temporary restraining order without so much as a hearing or allowing the Trump administration to utter a word. Second of all, the plaintiffs being held were in Texas. This is a Washington, D.C. judge. He doesn't have jurisdiction. And finally, the exclusive remedy here under that law is what's known as a habeas petition. It's not a temporary restraining order. Bozeman seems unbothered by that, and then he exceeds his authority, ordering planes returned to the U.S.
while they're in air.
Yeah, I mean, he has no authority for that. Once a plane leaves U.S. soil and is outside U.S. airspace, no judge has authority for that. So I think this is judicial activism. There's too much of that. Judges in the lower courts and the federal district courts allow their personal animus and political views to dictate their decisions and not the law.
137 were tossed. 101 were Venezuelan TDA guys, 21 MS-13, 2 special cases of MS-13. They were actual ringleaders. So we'll see where that stands. The Trump administration fired right back. Boasberg said one of the things he says is, make sure my order is complied with immediately. And both our president and El Salvador's president kind of mocked the judge. We'll see where this goes. Now, let's talk about the Khalil situation. He is the Colombia protester who is a 30-year-old graduate student who graduated, still living in campus housing, came over from Syria, went to London, somehow got a berth into America's elite college, and then has created havoc since then. Now, he's being held in Louisiana at an ICE facility, and his lawyers are working hard to get back into communication with him and give him his green card status and let him stay. Where does this stand?
Well, being a green card holder does make you a lawful resident, but that's not a right. That is a conditional privilege. And one of the conditions is you may not support or endorse terrorist activities or a terrorist organization. And the evidence is that Khalil was doing just that. There's another law that says if the Secretary of State deems someone such as Khalil acting against America's national security interests, he can be evicted without a hearing. And that's what Marco Rubio said. So the law stands squarely behind the deportation of Khalil. But of course, once again, it's being tied up in court.
Do they need to show that he had some type of contact with Hamas?
No, you don't. The law says endorsing or supporting a terrorist organization or terrorist activities. And apparently the evidence gathered by our government is that, he was passing out flyers, photos of Hamas glorifying the hideous massacre on October 7, 2023. That is supporting terrorist activity, no question about it.
Greg, no doubt about it. It's going to be interesting because there's more to come. It's not just Khalil. There are plenty others in Colombia. They're investigating multiple colleges across the country.
That's right.
And we begin at the Ivy League schools. Greg, thanks so much.
My pleasure, bro.
All right.
Yeah, and it's just important to know that they're screwed, because if people are in fact not here legally or here with green cards or something silly like that, then they are not entitled to these rights that they think they have. So a lot of these agitators are, yes, from other countries. They've been infiltrating this country for a long time. And yeah, here we are dealing with exactly that. Social Security backs off its plan to cut phone services for disabled people, but still, millions applying for retirement or survivor benefits will no longer be allowed to verify their identity by phone and will need to do so online or in person, just period. So that you can be disabled, unfortunately, you're going to have to make it in someplace, I understand. And people are going to be like, well, what if you're not capable of going anywhere? What if you're stuck in a bed? Or like, well, I don't know. Then you can't really have somebody else verify who you are, right? Or maybe, I don't know, maybe there's got to be a way to make house calls. I'm not sure how they get around that, because, that's what the argument's going to be. They're like, well, then you don't get any, sorry. I don't know. You can't just make it easy to break the rule because there's like one person that's going to need this special situation and be like, well, in special situations, we'll do a special thing, but we're not going to make a broad rule for those one or two cases that are going to require somebody to actually literally go to an individual. And maybe that's what we do. And that would be the smart thing in my mind, is be like, no, what we did is we created an extra couple positions that literally what they do is they go out and help someone verify their identity. That's all. If you can't, for some crazy reason, rather than trusting somebody else to give the proper information, we'll come to you and verify you are who you say you are, and we'll make sure it gets taken care of. To me, that's probably the easiest way to handle it. And then they'd be like, yeah, exactly. You can't anywhere anymore. This guy Hochman, I guess he's here in California, but it's Los Angeles specific, so whatever. But he ousted George Gascon to become the district attorney last year. He announced, and he's like pro stopping crime. I think one of the things that got him actually in, which is kind of a shocker. And he's already made some interesting changes, which is cool. But he's talking about reinstating capital punishment here in California. Again, I just want to say I'm not for killing people. I just don't think it's cool. Keep them in jail forever. That's fine. They'll eventually die. Again, just karma. All I got to say. You can support it. I'm not going to ever poo-poo anyone that does. But here is this happening.
If we were to have a Sandy Hook type of situation and over 20 school kids got murdered by a vicious murderer, or we had a Las Vegas situation and over 50 people were to be gunned down by a sniper, in those situations, the death penalty would be back on the table for consideration.
Hochman says prosecutors may call for the death penalty in special circumstance murder cases and says it will only be pursued after an extensive and comprehensive review. Under the prior DA, George Gascon, seeking the death penalty was off the table. Keep in mind the last execution in the state of California was back in 2006, and since 2019, Governor Newsom has had a moratorium on executions. Newsom saying it's immoral and costly to taxpayers.
Hawkman, that's a much cooler way to say it, right? Hotchman's not nearly as cool. Hawkman, right? Whoa, dude, that's crazy. You got like a bow and arrow thing too? That's wild. North New Jersey, sorry, we'll try that. The north of New Jersey, no, just New Jersey. Police chief is accused of turning department into animal house. Said he literally stabbed somebody in the penis with a hypodermic needle, added Adderall and Viagra to the coffee pot. I mean, the dude sounds pretty funny, but funny in a dangerous kind of way, unfortunately. He's harassing officers, sending crazy packages, sex toys to their homes, gay pride flags, trying to mess with their families. I don't know. Guy sounds like a troublemaker. Having fun, I guess, and but he was also keeping people from being able to get promotions and stuff because maybe they didn't like it and kept telling them to stop it, and apparently he didn't find that to be appropriate. So they don't find him to be appropriate. Maryville police officer killed while executing a search warrant in a years-long drug trafficking operation. They were going after a bad dude. I guess this is Olivehurst, California as well. Marysville, I guess out in Tennessee, like Marville, right? Totally say it differently. But he was shot and killed Wednesday while executing a search warrant. Just one dude too, it seems, which that sounds scary. This guy had numerous warrants against him. Anderson says more than 20 warrants were executed across Butte, Sutter, Tehama. I don't know. I don't know all the crazy Indian names out there in Arizona or wherever that is. Is it Butte or Butte? I don't even know. Doesn't care. Deadly shooting happened just before 8 a.m. around Kestrel Court in Olivehurst. Anderson says upon entry into the home, the narcotics gang task force unit met with gunfire. One of the team members, a 2-year veteran, was hit and died. The suspect shooter was also killed. All right, cool. I didn't catch all that part. I guess I didn't read the whole thing. I was like, I'll do it live. Anyway, that's what happens when you don't actually know the story before you do it live. That's not good. Here's Putin talking about, there's a whole bunch of stuff around him right now that's one of them kind of tripped me out because I almost wondered if it was accurate. This is Putin speaking Russian, and there's a guy that eventually, translates it for us, we assume. But he's saying the U.S.'s plan to take Greenland, one, is legit, and two, actually he's gone back really far. He brought up some history of our country that none of us know. Thanks, Putin, for telling us Americans what we don't even know about our own selves.
For anybody, and it would be a great mistake to believe that these are just some eccentric talk of new American administration. Nothing of the kind. In fact, such plans were obvious back in 1860s. Back then, the U.S. administration considered the possibility of annexation of Greenland and Iceland, but this idea was not supported by Congress at that time. Let me remind you that by 1869, the American papers laughed at the purchase of Alaska. The deal was called a folly. Alaska was called an icebox. And Polar Bear's garden of Andrew Johnson, the U.S. president at the time. So the suggestion to incorporate Greenland failed at the time, but now the purchase of Alaska obviously is looked at the U.S. quite differently, just like the deeds of Andrew Johnson. So it is nothing surprising about what's happening now.
Yeah, he doesn't deny it or anything. He doesn't say they can't, does he? No. Folks, the world is in a very different place. Just remember, drslikesgold.com. I'm not shitting you. This is one of those things where you're like, no, everyone says it's always good. You shouldn't get out. You only lose money when you get out. World's in a very different place, folks. Very different place. My friends at Goldco don't agree with me, but hell, well, they can't legally, right? I mean, secretly, I've had conversations with a few of them. But Iran is ready for indirect talks with the U.S., but they said we need to dial it back a little bit, this whole idea that you can't have anything or everything. And then they're like, just chill it down a little bit. Like, maybe we'll talk to you. And I don't think Trump's going to respond to that well, but we'll find out. Whatever. I think Trump's holding way more cards than Iran. But at the same time, well, there's very strategic sites, and I don't know exactly how Trump gets them. But I think there's a lot of, I can think of a lot of stuff. We'd speculate. It'd be fun. I could do a whole show on that. It'd be so fun. That would be a fun live show. Thought about it. I might pick up another live one of these days, but I want to kind of get in the habit of doing the 2 lives a week that I'm doing, and then everything else, and then just keep doing that. And if that gets comfortable, I might add one more live show. I got an idea, some stuff I think would be fun to do. And maybe have it where it can be call-in and stuff, too. There's a few things I'm looking into. I know a lot of you guys would be like, that'd be cool, Dan. I know, but it'd be like the same weird few people that would call all the time, which sucks a little. So I got to be able to clear calling people, right? I got to be able to hang up on someone. So we got to look into it. It's going to be suck. Volodymyr Zelensky, sometimes spelled with 2 Y's, depending if you use their spelling versus our spelling. It's very confusing, by the way, trying to spell his stupid name right. Or, sorry, to spell that stupid person's name right. That's a better way to say it. His name's not stupid. It's just him, that is. On Wednesday evening, though, the Ukraine's going to never cede the occupied territories. Like Russia, Trump's already made the deal. Russia's going to keep what they took. And, of course, Zelensky's pounding his feet, and he was on some talk show talking Ukrainian, totally geeked up on coke, it looked like. Dude was so geeked up. So geeked up. It's insane. Zelensky predicts Putin's going to die soon, amid speculation over Russia's leader over ailing health and all that. Now, they've been saying the same thing about Kim Jong-un for a long time, and Kim Jong-un's still alive, even though his sister's supposedly in charge, especially if you ask Ben Fulford. So no one really knows what the frick's going on anymore. Kim Gogan says that Putin's already dead anyway, so 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I don't know anymore. Maybe it's just like figureheads have to live through this. Maybe somehow a Trump figurehead's going to live through this. Like, not the real Trump. He'll be golfing every day, just in a disguise, right? And some lookalike's going to be running the White House. Who knows? U.S. seeks to control investment in Ukraine, squeezing out Europe. We're trying to get... The world's trying to organize, like I was talking earlier with the magnetic field. 3 poles. Trying to organize. We're trying to get organized. Initially, they were just going to kill us all off. And the good guys got a hold of this and said, that's a bad idea. I don't want to die. I don't want my family to die. I don't want people to die. I like people too much. Which is a bold statement to make, I might say. But at the same time, it's like, no, we don't want all these people to die. There's another way. There's a better way, which there is. And we are doing that. And I don't know how much time we got. I really don't. But, there's a lot happening. It's going to happen. We'll get it done in time, but it's speeding up. To me, everything feels like it's speeding up anyway. I feel like it's probably tied into what's happening. And, again, there's so many things. We'll get there. We'll get there. NATO's going to walk back comments about U.S. soldiers in Lithuania. Now they're not dead, apparently. Or we just don't know where they are. We thought they were dead. First we thought they were lost, and then we're like, oh, nope, that was them that fell in the water. No, turns out that wasn't them. Maybe some of their soldiers died in the water. I don't know. Our soldiers are still missing, which is weird. I hope they haven't been kidnapped, but apparently they're still looking for these soldiers. Multiple people stabbed in Amsterdam in the Netherlands. They flew in a helicopter and stuff. We don't really play anything, but it's kind of a big story, kind of crazy. 6 dead in a sinking of the Egyptian tourist sub carrying Russians. A bunch of people got off this thing. It was supposedly carrying 45 Russian citizens aboard. I'm wondering who the 6 were that died. 5 were from other countries, I think, and this was in Egypt. 5 people from other countries. 1 was an Egyptian. But the 5 foreigners, we don't know how many of them were actually Russians, but I'm very curious who was on this thing and who just died. It literally sank some. I don't know. No, I mean, sometimes, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes God does it. There's a lot of people that are like, there's no such thing as a coincidence. It's like, well, sometimes stuff does happen, I think. Like, God does stuff sometimes. That's why I'm like, I don't really feel like I got to kill people, because I think God will take care of it somehow. He'll sink a submarine if he needs to, right? Or suck up a ship. I know it could very well be technology from other stuff if you actually read the Bible from the Hebrew standpoint and use the words they talk about. There are some flying craft that could do some probably crazy things. Who knows if that's maybe the UFOs we're constantly seeing, stuff that's referenced in the original Hebrew Old Testament. For those of you familiar with the kavod, and I'm forgetting the other ones, but there's one or two other. Well, actually, I think there's a number of chariots that are overall talked about, flying chariots. Anyway, neither here nor there. That book is so awesome. I'm almost done with it, and I can't wait to start his next book. I'm just very excited. Education Secretary Linda McMahon, had just formally warned California Governor Gavin Newsom to comply with federal law on prohibiting males in women's sports and in other sex-separated spaces, or else risk losing federal funding. Much like New York, the other worst state in the union, California is being put under serious pressure. Being someone that's living here, I love it. I'm stoked they are. Yeah, it might cause some hardships. We're going to get through it. We'll eventually get through it, but Gavin Newsom is not allowed to do whatever the hell he wants. This Title IX stuff getting taken back control of by people that actually believe in women's rights, which I do for sure. I grew up in a household of a mom that was into like the constantly, she's into protesting. She just didn't realize that she was supposed to give up on her party at some point. I don't know. Maybe she's getting better. We haven't talked in a while. 75 days after Pacific Palisades fire, LA has issued just 4 permits for rebuilding. 15,000+ homes lost, 6,000 structures destroyed. Sorry, well, it's not even close. I don't know where I'm getting the number. Maybe that's all the fires that we had, Palisades specifically. 4 permits of 6,000. It's just like almost like big chunk of them. Yeah. Good job, California. Trump family crypto firm launches a stable coin. I don't know, like USD1. If you care, there you go. I don't care. I really don't. I put it in there for you guys. Utah adds protections for child influencers following YouTuber Ruby Frank's child abuse conviction. This is just a crazy story. I'm not going to read it all and get into it all because it's just too much. And I need to take a small break and get stuff uploaded before I do my live show, which I'm looking forward to. But Salt Lake City, they are Mormon. It's a Mormon family. They had a crap ton of kids, like 8 kids or some shit like that. And so they were vlogging their kids all over the place. It's called the 8 Passengers. And then it got to the point where they started chasing views. And I've talked about this before. I've talked about how this is, to me, the most dangerous part of people that get into content creation. If the views and the hearts and all that shit matter, and if it matters a lot, you're going to get damaged by this, and you're going to get more and more damaged by this. And there's just most people will be like, no, I can handle it. I'm in there because I can handle this. And it's like, no, you can't. You're obviously addicted because you're in there. That's how it works, right? I get caught in the shorts every once in a while. Those bastards will get me. And then I'm like, dude, stop. Pause, right? I'm like, right? That shorts, man, they'll suck hours out of my life if I let it. Eventually they start repeating stuff, and that's where I'll be like, shit. But this is a situation much the same. Mom got super crazy, literally was torturing 2 of her children because she didn't feel that they were doing they weren't getting enough views. She literally had cameras all over the place. She was constantly looking for that next viral moment. And again, I think a lot of the times it comes from the money. Like, one viral video, like my sister had told me, she had a couple viral videos. She's very creative, does really good stuff, but she just doesn't do like long-term kind of like, she has moments that are just awesome. And she made like $5,000 or something off one of her viral videos. And I was like, that's really cool. But I mean, that's $5,000. It's like, I mean, it's a lot, but you got to get a lot of viral videos in a row to make that worthwhile, right? So it's kind of brutal. She got millions of views though. It's pretty crazy. So this creator was called Mom Talk, I guess. Some of you guys might know who she is. The Secret Lives of the Mormon. Son escaped. That's how she got caught. So she's in jail. The father feels bad. Anyway, this is just horrible. But they put some stuff in place in Utah. So if you are using content of your children, you have to put like 15% money aside. And if you're like an actor and your child's a child actor and you're the parent. You have to put even more aside, by the way. But you have to put money aside legally so the child's got it to kind of help deal with who they are going to become, right? Like, so it's, I don't know, it's interesting. It's an interesting story. This chick's crazy. She's in jail for a long time. She's a freaking horrible person. That's unquestionable. And that's my point, is what will happen if you chase the views. I have told many people, believe in your content. Do your content. Do you. Do it right. When you start worrying about what people are saying, when you start worrying about what thumbs ups you're getting or how many views you're getting, you are seriously going to go in the wrong direction. It's a guarantee. It's a guarantee. There's no, Dan, I can make it. No, you won't. I'm telling you. I know I've repeated myself for a reason. No, you won't. Yeah, that was it. Thank God. Crazy stuff. Again, a lot happening. We've got a good music show coming up. Someone actually made an interesting request recently. That'll probably be next week's show for sure. I'm not going to change all my music this week. I've got some really fun stuff, though. It's like 90s kind of hits, some dance stuff. I don't know. It's not too like rockish, I would say. It's a little outside of that genre, but it's some fun stuff in there. I don't know. It's just good music. But next week, yeah, we'll got an idea. We'll see what's going on. We'll see if I'm going to let it marinate a little bit too and maybe have some fun with that. Also doing the Law of One today, and I'm looking forward to that big time. That is going to be a lot of fun, and we will get that rolling here shortly. For this video, I think a lot of you guys might, I don't know if we'll get this up before I start my show live. We'll see. Some of you might get to. Well, a lot of you guys aren't actually going to watch the live show. I don't think it's going to be as many as my music show, and certainly not as many as my other shows, but whatever the case is. I'm loving it. Hey, guys, check it out, too. Truththread.shop. Truththread.shop. That's truththread.shop. Hey, check it out for all the merch stuff, too, if you guys want to help out. It's a family that's doing the merch stuff for me. And so it's really cool that way. It gets my information out there, so people can see it. Some great information on some of our shirts. I don't know why we can't get this to actually load up. There we go. But yeah, so some good stuff. 5G warfare, all that good stuff, and the Dan Radio style. There's the 9/11. They've got the 6/11, Ephesians 6/11, when Trump was shot at 6/11 on July 13th or whatever it was, June 13th, July 13th, whatever it was. And yeah, and we've got the other one, the 5G warfare. So a lot of good stuff. Got it in a bunch of different ways. Send pictures if you can. It'll end up in the video. I'm probably going to do one of those here any day, likely this weekend. I already got the pictures. I got enough at least for the next video. But looking forward to the next video to come. All said, I love you guys. We're going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep fighting. I'm going to keep going shoulder to shoulder with you. Why? Because I love you guys. And I want to get to the end of this. I want to see what happens. I want to see what we create together. And I'm excited about it. So where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.